Good morning, church family. My name is Pastor Seth Yelorda, and I'm so honored to be able to share with you just a brief word on what it means to be fearless. You know, one of my favorite podcasts is How I Built This by NPR. And in this particular podcast, the host will interview company founders and CEOs to kind of hear their story and how they grew their company. And it blows my mind because in every single episode, the founder is talking about how the only way that they were able to grow their company to the point where it's now a household name like Southwest Airlines or Spanx is because they were able to overcome several obstacles. And I think about our own life, that the way that you and I are able to really grow up and to live out all that God has in store for us is we too have to be able to overcome the various obstacles that we are faced with. And I think by and large, the main primary obstacle that we all face in our life is fear. On some level, fear is a paralyzing effect in our lives. And when I think about the origin of fear, I can't help but going back to Genesis in chapter 3, where Adam and Eve, they ate the fruit. God comes down and he says to Adam, "Adam, where are you?" And Adam shows up in Genesis 3 and he says this in verse 10. He says, "God, I heard you in the garden and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." In Genesis 3, verse 10, that is the very first emotion. Fear is the very first emotion that Adam experiences after sin. Fear is future-oriented. It is an uncertainty about things that will come. So the question is, well, how do we deal with fear? Fear that has this paralyzing effect upon us. Fear that leads us to believe that we're not sure what's going to happen in the future or what's going to happen in this particular circumstance. Well, I believe that Jesus gives us the answer to addressing fear. In Matthew in chapter 8, his disciples are on the boat and they're afraid because their lives are about to perish. And Jesus is sleeping and they say, "Jesus, don't you care that we're about to perish?" And Jesus stands up and he says, "Why are you so afraid, you of little faith?" It's almost as if Jesus is saying the antidote for fear is not courage. The antidote for fear is faith. Because faith, like fear, is also future-oriented. But faith says, I believe in the promises of God for my future. So no matter what the enemy comes against me with, I know that God is for me. What can stand against me? I know that God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory. I know that God will be a strong tower. He will be a shield for me. I know that my God will fight my battles. If you're battling fear in your life with your finances or with your marriage or with your children or with your career or with your health, I want to encourage you to lean into the promises of God and claim them by faith. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind.